Well, hello there, and welcome to another wonderful, marvelous episode of Porch Talk. I, of course, am Paul W. Marino, and to my left here, the other left, is the one, the only Ed Morandi.
Back again.
And his wife, Joan, is back there out of camera.
So what are we going to talk about tonight? You want to talk about the homeless?
Sure. I don't mind.
You don't mind talking about the homeless? How many homeless people in North Adams?
I do not know off the top of my head.
How many homeless people they want to put down to the college? And how can they put homeless people into the dormitories? Because if they're homeless, they must be living someplace now. If they're all together.
Well, they want to put them there because enrollment is down.
They're not going to college.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh,
but
okay.
Enrollment in the college is way down.
And I think if they put homeless people there, it's going to go down
Berkshire
worse.
Towers are standing empty. This is a way to get some money coming in.
Money from whom?
I expect that an organization like Lewis and House is probably paying rent. Lewis and House is the homeless shelter.
I know where they are. Yes, they're in two different places. But the homeless people that they want to put in MCLA, they're not homeless right now. They're staying someplace right now. I mean, you can't put 70 families in. They're not all in North Adams. They're from outside of the area. When I mean outside the area, I mean Texas.
I don't think they're coming from Texas to be
Well,
here.
they airfared them up to Nantucket, and the plane got there, they got off, and the plane took off, and it's a long story. But Cape Cod has them now, and they'll be coming to North Adams soon. And when they come to North Adams, I had plenty of questions, but this thing is not translucent. It's who takes care of the police? MCLA or North Adams Public Police
Department?
Department?
Of course, MCLA does have its own police force.
Yes, but
I expect the North Adams Police will also be involved.
Oh. And where are the kids going to go to school?
Locally.
So we're going to have to hire more teachers?
No, I don't think so.
From what I heard, if each family has 2 children, we're going to have to hire 3 more teachers at least. And where would they go to school? Would they go, or they can't go to Freeman or Johnson?
Well, they would probably go to...
Brayton.
No, I'm thinking Colgrove Park.
Colgrove Park? Yeah. If they're within that age
That's a nice
grade.
big school.
Yeah. If they're within that age group, yes, they'll go to Colgrove Park. And anyhow, let's forget about them. Let's think of other things.
Well, before we get to another turn of phrase, Joanne, would you please put the photo up? Now, this is our quiz for today, for this evening. This is a school that existed here in North Adams. It does not exist anymore. It was the first school in North Adams to have the Mahoney system of ventilation designed into it. So it was built about, I think, 1888. And what we want to know, now there are 2 possible names for this school. Give us either one, and you can have bragging rights for the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Joanne. So, again, it's a school built in the 1880s, I think 1888, and it was the first school in North Adams to have the Mahoney system of ventilation designed into it. At
Okay.
the same time, it was retrofitted into Drury Academy.
And YMCA.
No.
Was that the same system the year
Yes, but that was built later.
later? Okay. But they used the same ventilation system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got into every school in the city, and for schools that were too small for the true Mahoney system, they used stoves instead of a furnace.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you remember what the Mahoney system of ventilation is?
I think you told me one time that when the heat rises, it draws in the outside air, fresh air.
Yes. The heart and soul of the Mahoney system was a large chimney, and I'm going to use this picture as the chimney. Now, what they would do is run the furnace full blast all year round. And all that hot air going up the chimney created airflow. And it drew the used air out of the classrooms, hallways, and water closets. Quick, what's a water closet?
Water closet is often called a latrine.
Yes, bingo. Oh, a gold star for you.
And the hot air rises.
Yes.
What's keeping me down? I wanted to say what's keeping you down, but I wouldn't do that to you.
Thank you. So all that air was channeled through ducts built in the walls and sent up the chimney.
Don't get nervous. He said ducks.
Yes. And in the meantime, fresh air was being drawn in through ducts at ground level. And in warm weather, it was channeled directly into the classrooms. And in cold weather, they made the building function like a giant wood-burning cook stove. They would use dampers to close the channels that went directly to the chimney and opened others so that that air would pass by the furnace and arrive in the classrooms heated.
Now, the early schools, were they wood furnace or coal?
The very earliest that would have been wood.
Wood? I remember Haskins School, which was built in 1926, had a coal stove, not a coal furnace downstairs. And for us to play basketball on a weekend, we had to go downstairs and load up the furnace Saturday and Sunday afternoon. That was the coal were big hunks of coal. They weren't the little coal that you use at home.
Oh, yeah.
They were the big hunks like they use on a railroad.
Well, you know, that puts me in mind of when Colgrove Park Elementary was still under construction. I got to go down to the boiler room, and my gosh, they should have used the coal bin to put in a swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
It was huge enough. You know, it was like as big as this room. And it would have been a terrific place to put a swimming pool.
So what did they use now? Gas or electric?
Yeah, gas.
Gas. I can remember one time my co-host and I were talking and we did some figuring, and for $15 million, could have built 2 new schools. Get rid of Greylock and East School, and we could have put 2 new schools in for $15 million. Williamstown did it. They put their elementary school in, $30 million. Williamstown did it, and they put their one grammar school in, their elementary school in for $15 million. And it's a beautiful school.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. So now we're fighting now. We're going to do a remodel of Greylock for how much? Millions and millions of dollars. And East School is kaput.
Yeah.
Right? That's what is that? That's Sullivan School now?
Yes.
Yeah, Sullivan School, yeah.
Well, of course, part of the problem is that we spend all this money on a school, we get it built, and then we don't maintain it properly.
Uh-huh.
You know, so, oh, well, that can wait, or we'll do a quick fix. And eventually, hey, this school is in terrible shape. We need to replace it. Well, if you spent the money to maintain it,
Yes, especially when
Then-
it comes to roofs today.
yeah, then you would not be in this position where after only 30 or 50 years, you need to build a whole new school.
Right. And the schools that you see being built today have flat roofs on them. And even my wife said, why can't they just raise one side up a foot? You don't have to raise the inside, the ceiling inside.
Yeah.
Just the roof a foot and drain it all towards one end. And I said, it's possible. They do it in other buildings. Why can't they do it with our schools? Anyhow,
Because that would make sense.
yes, that's right. That's right. Do not make sense. What am I doing here?
Well, let's see. The big news on my front, as you well know, is that recently I posted a new essay on my website about the history of the schools.
Oh, I didn't see that. When did that go on?
Oh, a week or so ago. I know I sent you an announcement.
Yes.
Joan, did you delete the announcement
No,
before
she doesn't
he
go on
saw
my
it?
computer. She doesn't go on my computer.
Well, I wouldn't expect her to stand or sit on the computer, but there's no reason why she couldn't sit there in front of it.
No, she has her own computer, her own site, her own emails and stuff. She's got Apples and I got HP.
Oh,
Huh. That's the kind of team we are.
yeah.
She's an Apple lady. I'm a HP man.
Well, you know, once Maureen Wood told me she'd been on her computer all day, and knowing where her computer was, the first image that came into my mind is her sitting on the computer with her feet on the desk, looking out at the room.
I didn't get to know her till she worked up to North Adams Commons.
Yes. Oh, she was
Wonderful
wonderful.
lady. Yes, she was. Oh dear, things are gone. In fact, a good friend of mine, Bob Moulton, passed away yesterday. And condolences out to his family.
Amen.
Uh,
Now, I believe
know.
you passed along that it was pancreatic cancer.
Yes, it was. I didn't know about it, but when I went down to the ambulance service to sign some paperwork, Tina, the office manager, said, "Did you know that Bob passed away this morning?" I said, "No." She says, "And we were about to take him down to Mass General this afternoon."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was going down to Mass General for his checkup and possibly an operation, and he didn't make it. So, 9 siblings he has.
Wow.
Yes, and the mother, of course, Carolyn. I don't know how many grandnephews he has, but I know Mike Denault has 4 children. Those would be his niece and nephews. Ah, sad world.
Yes, indeed.
Anyways, oh boy, I don't remember how long ago I started with him on Let's Talk About It. It was at the other station, remember?
Yeah, in Building 6.
Building 6.
And I would say at least 15 years.
Probably. How many years, John? 15? At
Yeah,
least
because he
15
was
years.
on with Ron Boucher
Ron
originally.
Boucher before, right.
And then when Ron left, that's when you came in.
Ron ran for mayor, didn't he? And then he left?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe
There was a
so.
little discrepancy there, but everything's patched up. Yeah, he asked me to fill in, and the best part about that was Thursday night card games. Play cards at his house, 5:30, 6 o'clock up until 11 o'clock when the people who came in from Vermont said, we got to go home, we got a long way to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Every Thursday night. And Bob would supply cheese and pepperoni and potato chips and all the beer you wanted to drink. I was drinking soda at the time. I don't drink soda any longer. I didn't drink beer over there. I don't know. Probably had one beer or two in the 5 or 6 years I played over there. But I usually
I've
grabbed the
never
soda.
tasted beer.
Never?
Never.
I was cut off from beer in September. In September, they said no more alcohol. I couldn't have any longer had beer. And I went up to my daughter's house for dinner, and my grandson was there, and he had just brewed a batch of ale. And everybody said, you got to taste the ale, it's so good. I tasted it, and I said, oh, give me the rest of the bottle, and they took it away from me. I cried for an hour.
Well, a few years ago, my 45th high school reunion was happening, and I had pretty much decided, okay, I'm going to taste my first beer. And then, just before we met, I got put on new medication, no alcohol.
I know it. That's a bummer. No alcohol.
Now, it doesn't bother me because I've never really cared for alcohol.
It bothered me at first because I used to like a beer, a glass of wine or something. I no longer do it.
Well, I can whine with the best of them.
I know it, and with that comes a big bunch of cheese.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
664
cheese I can stand.
4408.
Well, you know, something I haven't mentioned in a long time is going to a forum of the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition.
All right.
And if you've never been to one, you will never forgive yourself for not going. It's that spectacular. In fact, when you mentioned talking about the homeless, I remember one forum that I was at before Al Bashevkin retired. And there's the first thing you do is you go around, you introduce yourselves, and then you get to announcements. And there was a woman there that I'd never seen before. And when she went to introduce herself, she said that she had just become homeless.
Oh.
And she didn't know what to do, and she was advised to come to the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. You're supposed to be the best and the brightest and so on. And people were coming out of the woodwork, see me at the break. You know, there was someone from the Department of Children and Families.
Did she have a family or children or just
I
her?
don't remember, but
Okay.
yeah, they were going to help her. And Lewison House.
Our friend at the Lewison House, yes.
And various other organizations all jumped in, come and see me at the break. Now, I've never seen her at a meeting since, but I did see her on the street sometime later, and she seemed much more at ease. So I gather that those organizations did help her out and got her on track.
Well, they will help you out. They will.
And for that matter, when I got home from rehab last spring, the health department made me move out of my house. And so I spoke to Lewison House, and they put me up until I was able to move back in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
They are good. We started going to them when they were in Adams, the Lewison House in Adams. and now they're at the old flood house. We still stop down and drop things off for them once in a while.
Yeah, well, the place in Adams is still there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
plus
closer.
plus they own the flood house, and they were putting people up at the Crown, I think it's Crown Royal Motel in Adams.
Oh, I know, the motel on the left as you're going
Yes.
down to Adams, yes.
Yeah,
They
and
were
I
putting
was
people
there
in
for
there. There
a
was
while.
a couple.
But now they are in the process of working with the company that's building another house in North Adams that they can put people in.
Oh, wow. Very nice. You know, it's nice that we take care of our own.
Oh, yes.
You know, I mean, I don't want to get back on the other subject again. It gets me all riled up to figure that North Adams is going to, and they will be, everybody says, oh, we'll get the numbers in here, we'll get more money, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope that when they come in, that the trafficking in cocaine does not increase, that the drug problems remain the way they are, and that no trouble is caused within the community. Because when you get 70 families that are coming in, can I put this? They're not all Scottish and Italians, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have a influx of people coming in who English is a second language to them, probably. Probably. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is. That probably English would be a second language, and they're going to have a lot of excuses on why can't I get free television? Why can't I get free transportation? Why can't I get free food? Why can't I get the wannabes? They want to be everything for themselves and nothing with the community. They're not going to increase North Adams. I said let's not get back to that. Okay. Where's my friends out there? They're supposed to call in tonight.
I don't know. Wait a minute. You trust your sons to watch your show?
My friends, yes.
Oh, your friends.
My
I thought
friends.
you said their sons.
No, my
Your
son will
sons.
watch the show, but I told him don't call in because we'll get on the subjects of different things that
Oh,
I
that
don't want
we
to
don't
talk
want
about.
to talk about.
That's right. What's the time limit up there? It's 25 after. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're almost halfway through the show. So we want to thank both of you for watching tonight. And if you have a guess as to what the school that is behind us, please give us a call, 664-4408. Now, I'll tell you something. Joan did guess it.
She did it. She won it.
I'm pretty sure it was just a wild guess on her part, but hey, she came through. We love you more than ever, Joan.
Well, when you said it was built in 1888, she remembers that.
Oh, well,
I mean, she remembers the history about North Adams in 1888
yeah.
because her
And
family was
let
here.
me
and
say, I'm glad that I don't have to go home with her tonight.
No, because her family came here in 1871. Of course, our house was in Adams at that time.
Yeah.
Remember the story? How did you move your house to North Adams? The same way they moved the Hoosick Tunnel to North Adams. Oh, dear. It's, oh, we've got to say something. We've got to say, and I went to a retirees meeting the first time since last August. And of course, Paul is the vice president, Al Mancuso is the president, and
Doug Greenlaw is the secretary.
Doug Greenlaw is the secretary, and Chuck Lewitt is the treasurer. And there were like 6 or 8 ladies there the other day, Thursday. Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
6 or 8 ladies there Thursday, and I had a good time. Of course, I met people I haven't seen since August, and everybody was happy to see me. some people said, "Oh heck, I had you in the pool next week," but they lost the pool. I got to get see my cousin since last August, and Joan said when we got home she had a good time. She talked to Judy Lescarbo and a few other ladies and Lorraine Mancuso. She had a very good time.
And we could hear everyone because I brought my new loudspeaker.
Was that your speaker they were using?
Yes.
Oh, well, it was good. Yeah, we have a speaker, don't we? We bought a
Well, we
speaker. I
used
don't
to
know if
have one at the Greylock Club, but I think that was theirs.
No, it's ours. We bought it.
Oh.
We bought it. That's ours, and the big coffee pot was ours. When we have the banquet in August, we have to look that stuff up and take it back.
Yeah. Well, I bought that recently online. It's supposed to be great for karaoke. And you may remember it had a light show going around and so on.
That's when you were doing the pole dance.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but not just then. But I wish I could turn the light show off, but I can't. So, but it's not really all that distracting.
It's not that bad.
Either.
No. I found it okay.
What was distracting was, of course, that I had it in echo. Oh.
Right, we got a lot of feedback
Yes.
on that. Yeah.
And I don't know what's wrong with people who don't like echo. Oh.
Paul, take it easy. Joanne's up there moving all kind of. She thinks something's wrong. No, it's Paul.
Oh, look, she just put her head down. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. So, as the phone is activated, isn't it? I mean, people can call in, can't they?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
So if you're watching,
And you know,
turn the volume off on your TV, pick up your phone, and dial 664-4408 and talk to us.
we'll answer almost any question that you have. I mean, the wealth of knowledge on history of North Adams is, I have about 5%, and Paul has the other 95%. Because when I'm stuck, I call Paul. Paul, what year did they do this? And he says, let me think. This was done in 1842, 1857. It was done in 1863, and I'll be son of a gun. It was done in 1863.
Well, as Mark Twain said of someone, and I forget who he said it of, but between us we cover all human knowledge. He knows everything that can be known, and I know the rest.
I know the rest. I've been to his house down outside of Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's beautiful. And the rocking chair that he had his pictures taken in was there. Of course, there was somebody there making sure you didn't sit down and take a picture. But it was quite elaborate house for an author.
Yeah, he would have been fun to sit down and chat with.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Him and a few other people in history. I say, would I like to spend a half an hour just sitting down talking to them to find out what's really going on?
Well, I would like to do that with E.R. Tinker.
Mr.
That is
Tinker.
E.R. Tinker Sr.
Right.
I'd like to do that with A.C. Houghton. And for
Okay.
that matter, I had an idea for a TV show at one time. I think it'd be impossible to really pull it off, except unless it was done by professionals.
I'll do it.
Well, it would mean sitting down with a historical personage like, say, A.C. Houghton, and do an interview with him. You know, and now, for instance, if it was done on the last day of July, 1914, He could tell us about his career and about the Arnold Print Works and history of North Adams and so on. And then, once we've gotten through that, then tell what happened on August 1st.
Where he lost the butler and...
Yeah, when he and Mary decided to go to Bennington for a pleasure drive, and their car went off the road and flipped sideways 3 times.
And that's when they lost the daughter?
Yes.
See, I told you I knew 5%.
Yeah, the daughter, well, actually, her childhood friend died almost instantly when the car rolled over her. Mary was still in her seat when the car came to rest in an upright position. And she suffered from a variety of, let's just say, colorful injuries. And when the first doctor arrived on the scene, he took her in his car and brought her to the hospital in North Adams, where she died of her injuries at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, this means that, well, actually, what probably happened to Mary was not just what she suffered in the crash, but what she suffered when people got her out.
Okay.
Because there were no such things as ambulances,
None.
no such things as EMTs. So today, we would know better than to try to pull her out of a seat and carry her up a hill.
Right.
And that's exactly what they did. So it just exacerbated her injuries. Now, and when we say the first doctor to arrive took her in his car, it doesn't explain exactly what was meant by that. Was she put in the passenger seat?
Or laid in the back seat.
Or laid in the back seat? Or was she put sitting in the back seat?
Could have been
And
either.
she didn't have anyone with her in the back seat until the car got into Blackington Village, and there someone got in the car
With her,
and
yeah.
accompanied them to the hospital. And the next morning, the chauffeur committed suicide, and Houghton died on the 11th. And it's romantic to say that he died of a broken heart, but what actually happened, again, was the lack of any understanding of emergency medicine. The men all had minor injuries, minor fractures, cracked ribs, bruises, and so the second doctor to arrive took him in his car and brought him home. Not to the hospital. Well, and of course at the hospital, I doubt that they would have had the knowledge to find out that he had internal injuries.
I don't know if they had, they had x-rays back then, but you can't, unless it's a broken bone, that would show nothing. But they had nothing like MRIs or CAT scans or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
So he was brought home, and all those things, all those injuries, plus how he felt about his daughter dying, her childhood friend dying. He would have known her when she was a little girl.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
Do you happen to know the name of the friend?
Sybil Dutton.
Sybil Dutton, you see?
Yeah, and
You can't fool him.
Well, it's very difficult. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's the chauffeur killing himself,
Yes.
even though he was not at fault.
What actually happened? Did he blow a tire? Did he go off the road?
No.
The road
there
sank?
was a team of horses. Well, the thing is, the road, in fact, a modern writer wanting to sound dramatic said he headed up the daunting Oak Hill Road.
Okay.
Well, if you've ever driven on Oak Hill Road, there's nothing daunting about it. The hill is steep, but the road runs parallel to it. So it's actually a very gentle grade. The problem is that it's a textbook example of a paved carriage road. So there was a team of horses on the right side of the road, that's the uphill side, and going at what he figured to be 12 miles an hour, Witters turned to the left to go around them. Now, if you remember walking in the gutter in the winter, you know that someone coming up behind you may go all the way to the other side of the road to go around you. And that's what the chauffeur did. He went all the way to the left side of the road, and in fact, the two left tires were not on the road.
Wow.
So he was very delicately balanced. And because he was on the right side of the car, which was the way that the 1914 Pierce Arrow was built, he could not see how close he was to the edge. When he got past them, he turned the wheel to the right to get back into the road. Modern stunt drivers will tell you, if you're driving a car down a hill, always turn the wheels toward the downhill. Because if you turn them toward the uphill, it sets the car up to roll.
Sure.
And that's exactly what happened. He didn't know that, couldn't see where he was, turned the wheels to the right, and that set up the roll.
All right. That's nice. Nice to know.
And the next morning at 5 a.m., there were friends sitting up with him in his apartment in the Houghton barn, and he said he was going to go down and tend to the horses. Mm-hmm. He went down to the cellar of the barn, took a horse pistol, and bang.
Wow. I didn't know horses had pistols.
Well, just goes to show.
Yeah, just they don't see everything in the westerns. Now,
Well, it's
if you go-
amazing how little history people know. Do you know how the town of Chicopee got its name?
chickpeas.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. They were called chickapeas at the time, and they grew wild there, acres and acres of chickapeas. And then when someone started growing them in the Middle East, and the hummus capital of the world moved from Chicopee to the Middle East, people there just got disheartened and plowed all those acres of chickapeas under.
And they started Chicopee Kielbasa Company.
Yes.
Lansky. Okay. Now the question is
And I don't
this.
even want to talk about Springfield.
No, I don't want to talk about Springfield. I want to talk about this. If you sit in the council chambers and you look on the wall, there's A.C. Houghton and his
City Council.
the city council. Did you know that somebody, over there, has a great uncle on that?
Ooh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
So she goes back a long ways. Me, I go back to 1886, I think, when my family come over here from the fatherland, as Dave would say.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Fabiano would say, when you going to the fatherland? It's not Germany, it's Italy.
Well, my grandparents came here in 1900. My Uncle Jimmy was born in Italy.
My mother was also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they were raising him. In 1904, my grandmother had a little girl who died at 4 months. and they did not own a cemetery lot, so she was buried with the Moroccos because my grandmother's younger sister was married to Carmine Morocco. So she was buried there. In 1905, she had my father. And let me see, she had very bad asthma. And so I think it was 1907, she took the boys and went back to Italy, probably to the very village that she was from. And she had a sister who owned a store there, and she had a pot of spaghetti sauce simmering next to the door. And at the end of every day, she'd take whatever scraps of meat and veg she had, toss them in. So it was constantly evolving. But
Wow.
by 1913, she missed her husband too much, so she packed up the boys and came back to North Adams. And the next year, my Uncle Frank was born.
All right. Now, this reminds me of a story where I wanted to interview someone. And I said, you know, you'd make a nice person to interview, you know, because here you are, you come over from Italy, you got married here, you got this and there, and everything else. Then you got your citizenship. And the girl, in broken English, says to me, no, I was born in North Adams. Forgot what year it was, but it was like at 4 months old, 3 or 4 months old, her mother and father moved back to Italy, and she grew up there. And she couldn't speak English. When she came back here, she was an American citizen. Her mother and father were not, but she went to school to learn English. And I went to high school with 2 of her sons, and her daughter went to St. Joe's. So 2 daughters went to St. Joe, I think. I think they both went to St. Joe, and 2 boys went to Drury because I played Little League with the 2 boys. I played ball at one time. Oh, yeah.
So did I, but I never really cared for it that
I loved
much.
it. I loved playing ball.
Well, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but maybe it's because my brother hit me in the face with a baseball bat.
I believe it.
I was 3, he was 6. He was tossing a baseball up and trying to swat it when it came down.
Oh,
I was riding my tricycle around the yard, and we came together in a perfect storm.
oh God.
And to this day, I have a clear image of my mind of the bat coming in for the kill.
Yeah. My son up in Woodstock, Vermont, they were playing ball outside, and my daughter is left-handed because she's batting the opposite way. And she swung around and took him right here.
Ooh.
Bang! Yeah, black tooth till it fell out. He can remember that.
I'll bet they both remember it too.
Oh, they do, yeah. The only one that doesn't remember it is my youngest daughter. I think she was probably 2 years old at the time it happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's no wonder she wouldn't
Yeah.
remember that. Although, what's your earliest memory?
I can't say it on the air. Going to my grandmother's house on State Street to see my grandfather and grandmother. That's probably the earliest one I can remember.
I have at least one memory, maybe 2, of lying in my crib sucking on my toes.
Oh, really?
And I have a very vague memory of riding in a baby carriage, the kind that's a crib on wheels.
Oh, wow. I just remember going to my
Well, of course, you were lucky to have your grandparents so close.
Yes, all of them. Well, I had grandfather and grandmother Morandi close on State Street, probably half a block away. And my grandmother Trotsy lived upstairs from us, my mother's mother. So,
Yeah, my father's parents died before my parents even met.
oh really?
So I have no memory of them except what my father told me.
Don't read it out loud.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, and my mother's parents lived in Maine. Of course, she was born in Wales.
Oh, I thought she was born in Canada.
No, in Wales. And my Uncle Bill, her younger brother, was also born in Wales. And they came over when she was 6.
There was a picture on Facebook today of some mountains and a lake with some sheep down there. And the girl said, I took this picture of Wales. And the guy says, Janet, those are sheep.
Hey, if you are sick to death of the two of us droning on about our memories, give us a call, 664-4408. And while you're calling, please take a guess as to what school that is behind us, or rather, what school that was behind us.
Yeah, the one
It
I
is
thought
no longer with us.
the one I thought it was, it wasn't. And I don't know. Have you got a picture of the old Archer School?
Yes, I do.
Maybe we'll do that some night.
Okay.
Because I have a friend that went to Archer School. In fact, I think some of the people in my class, my high school class, went to Archer School before they went to, where did they go? Brayton School.
Yeah, because Greylock was built to replace the Archer School.
Yes.
And I believe that was built in the 1950s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first school in North Adams to have clerestory lighting. Ooh,
What kind of lighting?
clerestory.
What is that?
It uses windows to get light into the building.
All right.
Now let me see. We were talking about early memories. Oh, yes. So when my mother was 6 years old, they moved to the United States. My grandfather was a lay preacher over there because there was a shortage of ministers, well, Methodist ministers anyway. And so for every 10 churches, there would be one minister.
Wow.
And he would stay at one, much like a bishop at a see, and he would preach twice a year in each of the other churches. And in the meantime, they had a guild of lay preachers who preached in those churches, and eat member had his own church, except for 2 Sundays out of the year. My great-grandfather was a lay preacher, and my grandfather was interested, but he felt kind of not up to it until his father came home from work one day, wet to the skin, and he was put to bed, and on Saturday night, his mother, that is my grandfather's mother, who was something of a nurse, said, I don't think he's going to live to see Sunday.
Ooh, wow.
And his father was very upset because William Thomas Bennett is supposed to preach. And so when he died on Saturday night, what my grandfather should have done was contact the guild and tell them, we need someone to cover for my father. What he did instead was he wrote a sermon, and he took care of the service.
Oh, wow.
And the guild, considering the circumstances, did not get angry with him. However, a member of the guild who was there suggested to him, why don't you consider taking our training course? And so under the guild, he studied theology and dogma and so on, and he went into a kind of apprenticeship, and then ultimately they gave him his own church. And he worked a 6-day week in a brickyard, running a brick making machine, and then he got up early on the one day he had to sleep late and ran the service and did it for nothing.
Oh.
The only way you got money is if you had to travel to cover for somebody else. And he did that once. He got up, conducted his own service, walked 2 miles to the train station, rode the train for 5 miles at a penny a mile, got off and then walked 2 more miles to the church, conducted their service, 2 miles back to the railroad station, 5 miles at a penny a mile, and then walked home. And he spent 10 cents and he got 10 cents.
Didn't they do what they used to do? I remember when I was a kid, they used to do this in church downstairs at the old St. Anthony's. If you needed money, they passed a basket around with money in it. If you needed some, you took some and put it in your pocket. They don't do that?
Oh, no.
Oh. Now, a question is, the Methodist Church in North Adams is closed, right?
Yes.
Where's the closest Methodist? Is it in Cheshire?
No, it's in Williamstown. But, well, the thing is, when they closed that church, membership was really down. And while they did have money, they had money in the bank, that building needed so many repairs that they decided to close it, and they merged with the congregation in Williamstown.
All right. That's the white building on the right as you go to Williamstown, the Congregational Church. I've been there. Ralph is a minister, isn't he?
Yes, he is,
Your
and
brother.
so is my brother Mark.
Oh, both brothers?
Yes.
What happened to you?
Well,
you became the history major.
you might say I'm the white sheep of the family.
I didn't know Mark was.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Oh, wow. Where's he located?
Binghamton.
New York? And Ralph is in Boston?
No. He went to seminary in Boston.
All right.
But we were part of the Troy Conference at the time, and the church where he was under review, as it were, was in Turner's Falls. And then his first official church as a full-fledged minister, he was sent up to Chelsea, Vermont. And while he was up there, we switched over to the Southern New England Conference. But he stayed with the Troy Conference. So from Chelsea, he went to Waterford, New York, then to Valley Falls, then to Queensbury, and then to Shenandoah.
Where's that?
It's in Clifton Park. And that's where he retired from, and they bought a house in Valley Falls.
All right. So we got 3 minutes and 40 seconds left.
40 seconds. Okay, so Joanne, you can take the phone number off. No one's going to call. Boy, we're really disappointed in you. And put the picture in front of us.
And Joan Joan guess this picture?
Yeah, so, Joan, you want to come in and say what you guessed? All right. This was built in 1888 as the Church Street School. And when the North Adams Normal School was established and this became their teaching laboratory, it was renamed Mark Hopkins after the famous professor at Williams College, hopefully so that it would inspire the teachers who learned to teach there. So it was the original Mark Hopkins School. Okay, Joanne.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I keep forgetting what we look like. Oh,
I know it. So, we will be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'll probably get Tim to come down with us, and I'm looking.
Well, I certainly hope so. I'll be seeing him Sunday.
Will you see him Sunday? What's going on Sunday?
We are going to go look for the Crooked Forest. It's alleged to be gone now, but I don't think it would be.
No, I think it's still there.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring a camera.
Okay.
There's a couple of cemeteries up there that I remember visiting, and I want to visit them again. In one of them, there are two boys buried side by side. One of them was swimming in their father's mill pond, and he started to drown, so his brother tried to save him.
They both went down.
They both drowned.
Yep. So with less than 2 minutes left, I want to thank all my friends for calling in.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice to know who your friends are, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I want to thank Joan for being here and being so cheerful for us.
Well,
and thank you, Joanne, for directing. We love you very much. And if you're lucky, we'll forget to come in and give you a hug later.
So with less than a minute, all I can say is we'll see you in 2 weeks. What did we make? We made a video of retirees meeting. This being showed this month?
No, we did not. Oh, yeah, we did the retirees show. Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And first Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock.
That'll
at the
be
Mary's-
June 1.
Mary Spitzer Center. And I was surprised because my first time there was yesterday. It was very nice, very congenial. I had a coffee and I actually had a donut.
Oh, my goodness.
I know it. So
Don't worry, I won't tell Joan.
no,
So
Have a
thank
good
you
night.
for watching.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks time we'll be here. Bye, Phil.